Welcome to the Drummergy podcast, episode 187. Can you believe that, producer?
187.
187.
No, I can't believe it.
I forgot again to have the applause track ready to go. Why do I forget that after? Oh, thank you. I could make it happen. It's just right here. Here we go.
That's just
It's so stupid.
Exactly.
Today we have a cool drummer guest from Nashville, Mr. Dango Cellan, coming to us live. Good morning, sir.
Good
Morning. Thank you. I cannot believe you said my last name, Cellan, correctly, but thank you.
I was just going to say, oh no, was that
nice job? That's hard because it doesn't look like Cellan.
I try to be educated.
You are.
I was like, is it Cellan? Is it Cellan? Is it Cellan? Like Cellan?
I've got all those since childhood, all of them. So
maybe it's Dango chillin'.
Yeah. So honestly, it's kind of part of why I've just stuck with Dango. It's easy and people remember it, and you don't have to worry about a last name.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's cool. Like your media name is Dango Empire.
That sort of happened as a joke because Dango was taken, and I was trying to come up with something. Dango.com was taken, and I was going to do Fan of Dango, but then I would probably get sued by Fandango. So,
yeah,
it's way back in college, and we just came up with Dango Empire. We're like, I was going to do Dango Online, but it looked like Dangoon Line. It was just we kept trying things, and finally, some buddies and I like Dango Empire. So it was just kind of a joke. And then I was playing for this Christian artist, Chris Rice, back in the day, and we made T-shirts that said Dango on them, and he'd carry the bag to shows. He'd be like, well, I'm bringing the Empire, let's go. And so kind of where the Empire part started. So it's no part of my name, it's just what's on my
I love it. It sounds like a band name.
It kind of does. It's sort of
silly.
Dude,
are you gonna go see Dango Empire tonight? They're almost sold out.
Yeah. Oh no, they'll be sold out by the time we get there. We better get tickets ahead of time.
Yeah.
Good thing I know the drummer now.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the kind of story on it.
He'll make sure we get in.
First of all, we talked about this just briefly off camera, but anybody who is a regular watching the show knows how early this is. And we've talked about we're crawling up on 4 years of doing this.
Yeah.
And we found that this is the best time of day. It's kind of like the spirit of radio. Begin your day with a friendly voice, a companion, unobtrusive. Right?
It's the best time of day for the people who live on the East Coast.
Yes. But we're going to talk all about a lot of stuff today, but one is musicians are being so committed to everything that they do, and we just need to wish Dango happy anniversary. Today is his anniversary, being married for 3 years.
Yeah.
And you know how he's beginning the day?
Happy anniversary.
On the Drummergy podcast.
That's right.
So yes, 3 years today, which is awesome. And my wife and kids everybody's still in bed when I left, so it wasn't a big deal. I left at 7:30, and it's summer, so kids don't have school.
Yeah, they're sleeping in.
Yep. So, but
how old are your kids?
My kids are 11, 13, 17, and 20. And
wow.
Yes. And so when I got married 3 years ago, I was a single guy with no kids, and we jumped right into family mode. So we just started doing it right there from the start, just like we're going family right away. So it's been a journey, and it's been awesome and hard and challenging and a lot of ups and downs, but it's been, it's still rewarding. And I just was telling my wife last night, I'm like, well, we've made it 3 years, and it's awesome to see what God's done in our lives and our kids, and just how far we're coming, trying to grow and trying to develop there's just so much teaching and stuff and counseling and stuff that goes into like, how do you blend a family, and how do you have step parent and this and that. And it's like, well, we're just going to keep going a day at a time and trying to do this. So that's where we're at. And we just did a little vacation last week, which was fun. And so really thankful, but 3 years. And then one other thing to say, my parents, who are like my heroes and I'm super close with, today is their 59th anniversary.
What?
Wow.
And that's pretty amazing. Yeah. So
wow.
We obviously chose this day kind of to honor them as their anniversary, but they are, they're still in my life, both alive, both doing well, and just really significant people for my whole life. So
They must have gotten married really young.
They did. They were kids in high school when they did.
Wow.
I'm the youngest kid, so I have older siblings, but pretty amazing to see.
Well,
Nice.
congratulations, man.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
so
And
awesome.
congrats to them.
And not just like you said, like blending families.
Yeah.
That's a whole different ball game instead of, kind of the traditional way of
starting from scratch.
Yes.
Yeah.
We were the start from scratch couple. And my music career was like really taking off, and my band was on the verge of getting a record deal. And Mary comes to me and she says, "I'm pregnant." And I'm like, "No, you're not." Sure enough. And she was like due at any moment. And I'm like, we all went to LA to do a showcase for some record label stuff. And she's like, and that's back when the phones were as big as this coffee mug.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, just taking those risks, man. All right. So we like to start the show with goofy holidays.
Is there a food one?
Of course. There's always a food one, Mary. And Dango, you can carry these around and share them with your kids.
Okay.
So this will go
I'm
right.
sure they'll love it.
I'm sure they will too. Today is National Macaroni and Cheese Day.
Oh.
Well, we have one kid who only eats mac and cheese and almonds, so I'll have to tell him. He'll be thrilled.
Yeah.
Hey, not only is it our anniversary, but it's also National Mac and Cheese Day.
I'll have to tell the chef at home that it's National Mac and Cheese Day, and he needs to cough up some excellent mac and cheese for the family.
Yeah, our number 3 son Dango is on his way to becoming a chef.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so every once in a while he'll get in the kitchen and make a storm of a mess, but some great food.
Yeah, I bet. That's cool.
Yeah. Do they have a culinary school in Nashville?
I'm sure they do. I'm not knowledgeable on what it would be, because
We
it's
used to have one.
going. Yeah, we have everything here, I feel like.
Yeah. Hey, Mark Grubert is here.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Mark is a bass player guy here in Boise, and we've played a bunch together over the years. And so he's here hanging out. It is Cow Appreciation Day.
What? Oh, no.
Yeah. Now this is a Chick-fil-A inspired holiday.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Google said it was. It's got to be true. It encourages people to dress like cows today.
Oh, wow.
I mean, I might have to have Chick-fil-A today just in honor of that. I do love Chick-fil-A. I'm also from Wisconsin, which is like the home of cheese and cow central. So I just grew up around cows. I hate the smell.
There you go.
Yeah.
We used to have a dairy behind our house. And
about a half a mile behind our house.
Well, the smell felt like it was right outside our window.
Sure.
Some days were better than others.
But as we're like really on the edge of Boise, at the desert, but the neighborhoods keep growing and growing, and so it's eventually pushed out the dairy.
Yeah.
So
I don't know if they just completely shut down or if they relocated, but they were there for a long time, decades.
So there you go. It's Cow Appreciation Day. It's also National Tape Measure Day. That's just ridiculous.
Wow.
Yeah. See, even Dango's like, wow.
That's a lot going on for one day.
I feel like I need to go to Lowe's and find a really nice fancy tape measure or something.
You know, I probably have 9 tape measures.
You probably do.
But I don't know where any of them are. It's kind of like a drum key.
It is.
That's
exactly what I was thinking when you said that.
Yeah. Well, I even bought one to keep in the jockey box of my car so that when we were somewhere and had to measure something, voila, I had one.
Okay,
you took them. You would take them. I've bought 2 for my car, and you've taken them.
You brought this up, Mary, in an unsuspecting way. So, Dango, the compartment in your car that opens up in front of the passenger, I've always referred to it as the glove box. Mary calls it the jockey box. What do you call that in Nashville?
I don't know. In Nashville, I always said the glove compartment.
Yeah. I always said the glove compartment until probably high school when everybody started calling it the jockey box.
I've never heard jockey box, but definitely glove box and glove compartment.
Yeah. Compartment is such a long word for that, don't you think? The glove compartment.
I don't know, Jay-Z in 99 Problems, he says my glove compartment's locked. So it's like, well, good.
Oh,
Oh.
oh,
All
there
right.
you go.
Well, Jay-Z knows.
I'm not endorsing Jay-Z, but it's a great song, and it does say it in there enough to stick in my head. So
Yeah. All right.
My drummer buddy Tony Mason is here, and he was talking
The
about
10mm.
the 10mm socket. That's another thing that you can't have too many of because you don't ever know where one is.
oh, that's
Do you
true.
do any mechanic work? Do you work on your own cars or anything?
No, and my 17-year-old does, and he's like getting into it, and he'll ask me stuff. I'm just like, bro, you're on your own. Like, check YouTube or Google, or ask your dad, because stepdad here does not know anything about cars.
Yeah, yeah. I only do out of necessity.
Like, I grew up with my dad could change his own oil, and eventually got to a place where he's like, it's just not worth it. You have to dispose of it, pay for this and this,
Yeah.
and go get it done. And I was just like, I don't have time. I don't, as a kid, it was laziness. Now it's like, I just, in my day, I'm not going to dedicate a day to change oil, save 30 or $50 or whatever. And now oil's expensive, like $100 for a change, but still, the hours it would take me, I'm like, I would rather teach lessons or play a gig or
Oh yeah, absolutely.
and pay somebody else to do it, or just go, my time's more valuable. I'm going to spend it with family. It's a day off.
Well, it's like ladies go and get their nails done or pedicures, and you just say, my car needs a self-care day, and we're going to go get the oil changed. And somebody else is going to do that. Yeah.
Now, speaking of the nail thing, my wife does her own nails, and it's pretty impressive to watch.
Wow.
And I don't know if she got into it for a hobby or she thought to save money. I don't know, but it's like something she does and really enjoys. So she has a whole setup and does this, and it's like,
wow,
you can do some fancy stuff with it. And I'm like, babe, you could do that for real, like as a job. And she's like, oh, I'm terrible. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. It's great, but I had never seen anybody do it, so it made me think of it when we were talking about
Well,
nails.
has she pampered you by doing your nails?
No, we haven't. No.
We haven't reached that stage.
Cross that bridge. I don't think that would even be exciting.
Well, there's one more holiday today.
Uh-oh.
You're buckle up. It is International Shark Awareness Day.
Oh, wow. And I was just in the ocean.
You
I was gonna
were
say, not super relevant to either of our locations.
no.
No, but we did see a dolphin, and that was exciting.
There was that short like reel going around of that woman in her car, and she was talking about it's a blessed day, it's the Lord's day, and she kind of goes on about that a little bit about having food in your house, and she says, don't go in the ocean because you're going to get ate up because you're in the shark's house.
Yeah. Your food in the shark's house.
Have you ever seen that?
No, I've not.
Gosh, it's so funny.
Yeah.
It's very gripping to watch because it's so true. Well, Dango, you have like this great resume, and I want to read part of your bio because it's pretty cool, and so people would have a little bit better understanding of who you are and what you do.
Well, Tony Mason says he knows him.
Tony Mason does?
Yeah, it says
He says, hey, I know that dude. We're Facebook friends from a few Nashville groups.
There you go.
Crying laughing face. Yeah, I toured with a band in 1997, beginning in 98. Was that
mostly 98? Yeah.
Why can't I talk? Cover band.
Yeah.
From Marquette, Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
And Mary and I had just been married a little over a year, and I went on the road for 3 months.
Wow.
And some of that you quickly learn, like, oh, I'm not making any money. And my new wife is at home and
trying to pay the bill.
Yeah, what's going on here? And so I resigned from the band, gave him plenty of time to find a drummer, and Tony was the drummer who came in after me.
Oh,
very cool. Yeah.
Right.
And then that band ended up being around for years. Yeah. They ended up changing the name to Splendid Chaos and toured all over the Midwest, and
so,
probably even more than I know. So,
do you regret that you left when you did, or you knew you did the right thing at the time and you're just glad that you did when you did it?
I didn't have any regret necessarily over that, just because where my music went from there.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I think it was the right move. Do you think it was? Speaking of moving,
Did you just look back to me?
well, I'm trying to see if I should lock myself in the room or.
Oh no!
Tony says it was the right move. It was
Probably
the right move
for both of you guys.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, before that, if you back up a little bit, we had made plans to move to Nashville.
We did
for his music career, and so we decided we got married, and we called it the honey move instead of honeymoon. And 2 weeks before we were supposed to leave, he got talked out of it. Actually, I think I was the one that got talked out of it. I was all set to go. But he was in a project with a group, and they were, I don't know, long story short, they kind of cornered me and said, hey, this is like a big deal to us, and we think that like something really is big going to happen, because they were working with a manager who was pretty big time and made all these promises that he didn't keep. And so I regret that. I wish we would have just gone. I wish I would have just said, we had another drummer.
We had the money to go.
Yeah.
I had already gone and visited Nashville. I had some friends that were living there already. One working on Music Row with like a publishing group, and then some other friends, excuse me, working at Nashville Cartage and Sound. Excuse me. And we were working with. Man, I just lost my voice.
No, you didn't. You got a frog.
I got a globule. We were working with Bill Aucoin, who was formerly the manager for Kiss, and so just.
Anyway, we were supposed to move to Nashville.
Yeah.
That was a regret.
We could have been neighbors.
You never know.
We could have. I moved there in '99 to go to Belmont. I just think if I'd have been a little older and could have come a generation before, there was just fewer guys doing it. Now, I love Nashville, but I could throw a rock and hit 1,000 good drummers, and it's like, there were great drummers back then, but just less people moved there. Nashville wasn't cool yet. It wasn't as exciting. People when we were moving there, it was like Nashville was becoming the big, like, instead of going to New York or LA, it was like, well, just go to Nashville. It's like the new thing.
Yeah.
Much cheaper than both the other places.
Yeah. Oh yeah. When we were looking into, I was like, man, we could just buy a house. Like, it was cheap enough to just buy a house.
Man, woulda, shoulda, kind of.
All right,
deal.
so go back to his bio.
Oh, I forgot to mention our sponsor.
Oh, sorry.
I was too excited. We're gonna read Dango's bio in a moment, but the Drummergy podcast is sponsored by 12th Fret Music. Here's the entrance to 12th Fret Music, and look at that amazing model.
You're gonna love this.
I look like the Walmart greeter.
The what?
Welcome to 12th Fret Music, right?
The Walmart greeter.
Much
located
cooler.
at 671 South Capitol Boulevard in downtown Boise, Idaho, and they are the Pacific Northwest's largest inventory of new, used, and vintage guitars, basses, and amps.
And you wouldn't know by looking at that little door there.
Yeah. Dango, check this out, though. I want to. This is the largest guitar amp in the world.
That's crazy.
That is 64 working 412 Marshall cabinets.
The only thing I can relate that to is I did one tour with an artist opening for Yngwie, and he sets his wall every day, and it was not that many, but it was a ton of jabs. That's just what it makes me think of, is Yngwie doing that.
Yeah. So this is the store owner here in the center, and he said, Guitar Center always had
the wallpaper
on the wall of Marshall cabinets, and he's like, I'm just going to have the real deal.
I love it.
Yeah. I am a guitar shop after all.
Yeah, but now they are carrying Vader drumsticks and Aquarian drumheads. So if drummers here in town, that's your new place to go for sticks and heads.
But they don't sell drums other than that?
Nope. No.
Isn't there a drum set sitting up on the shelf?
They do have a Roland E kit in there, but they're not they're primarily just a guitar shop.
Yeah.
And
but he does want to expand.
Yeah. I said, hey, if you're sponsoring the Drummergy podcast, and I have endorsements with Aquarian and Vader, I said, let's get those on the shelf.
Yeah.
And so now they have it.
There you go.
Yeah.
I love that. I mean, I play different companies, but I'm the same. I'd be like, at least get my brands in here, please.
Right? Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So a couple comments here real quick. James Harrison says, I was going to move to Nashville in 87, but went to grad school when offered the drumline drum set spot at Boise State. Going to Nashville this weekend. He's going to be in Nashville at the drum show.
Oh, nice.
Are you going to that?
I probably will, yeah, because I'm in town, which I never am. I usually am like gone on drum show and get home on the Sunday, and I'll go for like an hour. But I'm in town this weekend. I'm gigging, but I'll definitely go just to say hi to all my companies and people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, James, are you working that show? Well, let's see if he answers. And Jamie Veek wants to know, producer, did you get your guitar yet?
Not yet.
Not yet.
No, maybe he'll hire me to come and dust all of those cabinets and polish the guitars.
Yeah, you could have.
I can work it off.
You could have a part-time gig there just to get your guitar.
Yeah.
You could get your guitar. All right, I want to read Dango's bio because it's freaking awesome. If you don't mind.
Knock yourself. I'm not sure what version you have, but let's hear it.
Okay. Well, it says the 2026 bio.
Okay, good. Then it should be pretty accurate.
All right, here we go. This is super awesome. Dango is a Nashville drummer, which we've determined that. Playing professionally for over 20 years. Currently the drummer for emo legends Hawthorne Heights. His long career has spanned several artists and genres, including a decade with Grammy-winning Scott Stapp, the singer from Creed.
Yeah.
20 years with Warped Tour punk band Amber Pacific, and being a member of the platinum-selling worship band Sonic Flood. He has also toured with platinum-selling band Red, Fireflight, Super Chick, All Time Low, David Cook, as well as several country artists, Mark Wills, Craig Campbell, Josh Grayson, William Michael Morgan, Dylan Carmichael, Swan Brothers, Tim Duggar, and more. Dango has recorded drums on several albums and had songs on TV shows, movie soundtracks, video games, Monday Night Football, Billboard Top 100, including Scott Stapp's latest record with the top 5 hit on active rock radio. Graduated from Belmont University, studying with Chester Thompson in 2003, and has been teaching privately and doing clinics since. He has a studio in Nashville where he records and teaches, and put out an instruction DVD in 2009 and endorses DW Drums, my personal favorite, Pisces Cymbals, Evans Drumheads, ProMark Sticks, LP Percussion, and Humes and Bird cases. Dude, is that it? That's all?
Come on, you got to squeeze some more bands in there.
No, I appreciate it. Thanks for reading all that.
Fireflight. I had, I still have it. Their CD. I can't remember the name of the CD, but I think she's holding a candle or something. Like their first.
That was the big. Yep.
Yeah, and I played that thing to death. I loved that CD.
Yep.
And they played here.
They did
at the high school, which was kind of weird. It was a weird place for them to play, but they packed the auditorium, and it was great. It was a great concert. She's a great. I don't want to say front man, but she's a great front man.
She's a great front woman, yes.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, Dawn's really sweet. She has a new band as well, which is cool. And I can't think what they're called, but she hasn't done music in a few years, and she's a mom, got a couple kids. And like in the last year, maybe, she's launched a new band that's her and 2 younger females, all girl band. That's still rock. It looks really cool. So I haven't talked to Dawn in a while other than social media, but I bump into she doesn't live here. The other Fireflight people live here, so I'll run into them occasionally in like a restaurant or something. But
are they still together?
No, they might technically be, but they're not touring or actively. Yeah. None of them are actively doing
not active.
Like, I kind of was with them at the end of their touring years for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see Red in there. When did you play with Red?
Red was in 2014. They had a guy, Joe, that was their longest standing drummer on their big stuff. And when he left the band, he called me and said, would you be interested? And I was like, yeah, I don't really know the music, but I know it's a big band, and I know like you guys are doing well. I'm thinking like, why would he leave? And so I also called, there's a guy that's in Breaking Benjamin that plays guitar that used to be in Red, and he was like big writer on all their big stuff. And I knew him in Nashville, And so talked to him about it. And so through the two of them, that was my connection into that.
Yeah.
So I really only played with them for a year. And there were some cool experiences as far as meeting other bands, guys I'm still friends with that we toured with. And then it was a big part of actually me getting the gig with Scott Stapp. And that's one thing that, like with a lot of people when they ask about landing gigs, it's like once you get working and playing on gigs, they lead to other things. And it's so much of who you know. It's never being the best guy or girl at the gig. It's always being the who you know and the timing and are you a good fit. And sometimes you are and sometimes you aren't. That's been so hard in my career. It's why I've played for a lot of people. Sometimes I'm a good fit, sometimes I'm not. And sometimes you just have to go, okay, move on because, sometimes it's because the band quits touring. And that's happened with a lot of artists I've played with. It's like I play with them at the end of their run. But with that one, when I got the call to play for Scott Stapp, everybody else kind of had to send in an audition video. And I was touring with Fireflight. And when they called me, I said, I can't make a video. We're going overseas next week. And this was before 2014, we had iPhones, but it wasn't like you couldn't just record yourself super easily like now.
Right.
Different world. I was like, I'd have to go into a studio and make videos and line up the audio. Like we didn't all know how to do that back then.
Yeah.
And I just remember talking and they were like, well, Scott really likes that you played for Red, so he's sure you'll be able to handle the gig. Only thing that was said about it, but that was just one gig allowed me to get into another gig without really having to audition. And that kind of stuff, I mean, as you know, that happens all the time. It's just people call other people. Because I always used to think, oh, somebody's going to have auditions. And I know you'd see stories in the 80s and 90s where like somebody would do this cattle call audition and 100 people would fly down.
Yeah.
Never heard of that in the modern world, especially with how expensive everything is, travel and this and that. Artists don't have a week to rehearse and to try out new guys. They don't want to waste the money. So most of the time, you might go into an audition against 2 or 3 or 4 other people, but most of the time, they're just going to call somebody and try them out on the gig. And if they don't work, they're going to fire them and try somebody else out on the gig. Like most Nashville artists that I've seen, they don't waste time doing auditions because they don't want to spend the money. They just will put a new guy out there and give it a go. So it's just a different world in auditions because you always dreamed of like, I'm going to walk into this audition with Guns N' Roses and they're going to hear me against 100 guys. And they're like, it's not very common from what I've never seen that in my lifetime.
Yeah.
It's more of a who you know thing.
It is. And they'll call you and any band or artist is like, they go, who do you know? And everybody in the band starts listening. We know this guy. You start having references if you don't know them. And then you go in or you just call these 3 people and they're going to all send in a video or they're all going to come in and play 2 songs with you. I mean, all those things happen. And occasionally somebody will do legitimate auditions if they can't find somebody, but it's pretty uncommon that there's like like I remember talking to Lester Estelle and he said he got the Kelly Clarkson gig with an audition and he went in and it was like 10 guys auditioned, but that's pretty rare. It doesn't happen super often.
Yeah. Wow. They're just usually going to pull from somebody that they know or somebody knows already. And
we all know so many players and it's just like, the best guys in your area if you need to fill a spot for a gig.
Yeah.
I think Nashville, it's just a bigger pond to pull from because there's
exactly
thousands of great players here. And that's why most of the time, if I have to miss a gig or can't do something, I've got a list of my buddies that I call right away because I'm like, they can play, they're a good guy, they're going to show up, be reliable. Like I already know if I'm putting friends into the mix, how they're going to do. And that's the same with a lot of the work I get. It's just a buddy calls me and then I'm filling in or just doing it short term or whatever.
Right. So Cheeky Devil on YouTube says Lester is a badass. I'm pretty sure that's Fahed. Did we determine that's Fahed?
Oh, maybe.
I think it is.
Lester's unbelievable. If you haven't met him, you definitely should have him on your thing sometime because he's super cool and down to earth and he's super influential and he was big in the Christian world because he played in Pillar and that was his rock band forever.
Oh, okay.
And then he left Pillar or didn't even leave Pillar. They just quit touring to get into Nashville stuff and country stuff. Played for different country people till he worked up to now he's plays for Kelly Clarkson and he has now for 12 years. Wow. He was on Kelly Clarkson's show, so he would fly back and forth while they're filming. They just finished their 7th season. I think they're done. And he's got a studio here, so he's just taught me a lot about recording, and he's always helping guys like me just try to come up to, and he's younger than me a little bit, but he's just one of those guys that always helps people. But I mean, he's filled in with so many big artists and A-level acts, and now because of playing on the Kelly Clarkson show, like he's played for, he's backed everybody on the show when they bring on stuff. So he's just one of those guys, monster player, but really great guy and cool dude. That's very.
I'll reach out to him.
I
once you mentioned Pillar, I was like, oh, I know the name now.
Yeah.
That's where I would associate with him.
Yeah, and he's big, jacked, black, bald guy, big smile all the time.
Yeah.
If you see videos of him playing, like, he's one of those guys that can really play a lot of styles well, which I know there's lots of guys that can, but I mean, he can do a lot of stuff. So I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. Yeah. Cheeky Devil says he's got huge guns.
He does. No doubt.
He says, yeah, mate, it's me. Bud.
Yeah. So the guy commenting from YouTube, I've been tracking some drums for him.
Oh, he's got some great stuff coming out.
Really killer stuff that he's putting out. It's so cool.
So, speaking of Red, then.
Yes.
We have a question.
I think you have a question.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, producer. Go ahead, Mary. Let it rip.
By chance.
I don't think it would be by chance.
Did you participate in a music video with them?
No, I wish I had, just because I was not there really in the air when there was a good shot. And I was only there for a year, so.
Do you know which video I'm going to ask about?
No, because I honestly don't even know.
Okay.
So. But the singer, the lead singer, is bald with a red beard. So
yes. So the Death of Me video, because you got the twins, right? The Death of Me video, they did the whole good evil thing, and so there's the good guy and the bad guy, and so they found somebody that looks just like
Michael Barnes.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And when I saw your picture, I was like, oh. Is that the guy from the video? Because they never say who it is. They I searched and searched. I'm like, no. Even ChatGPT is like, well, nobody says who it is. So
I don't really still talk to them at all. If I did, I would ask them. I've had lunch with Michael since then, but I've spoke to the twins since that tour, honestly.
So that's been a while. A couple of my bands that I've had that's a great song. We've opened for Red probably between the two different bands about a dozen times.
Okay.
First, no. When Dan Johnson was in the band, and then when Joe was in the band.
Mm-hmm.
Was Joe the one with the long hair?
Yeah.
The taller guy with the long hair.
Yeah. Real skinny and tall.
And one of their drummers died.
Yes.
Was it the original one?
Hayden, I think, is his name.
Yeah.
I don't think he was the original. He might have been.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And he had a brother that played in the band as well for a while.
Oh.
And then that brother played guitar in Paramore for a while. And so when I toured with my band, my old punk band, when Paramore was opening for us, when they were brand new, he was playing guitar for them. So just kind of small world how you run into people.
Yeah.
I want to ask about your studio that you're sitting in there.
That's cool.
Yeah. This is how I connected with you to begin with. It wasn't any of the music that you've played or bands that you've played with. My studio is always like evolving into new and different things. And so sometimes I would get just lost watching YouTube videos on other people's studios. And there was a guy that was, I can't remember who it was, but he was going around to a bunch of different studios, meeting with people and talking about how they put things together. And I don't know if it was him, but I know for sure, like the Working Drummer podcast, that's how I found you. He was doing a tour of your studio there. And I was like, this is really cool. And it's kind of a similar situation to what I have at building a studio at your house, like a legit studio. And I was like, oh, this guy's really cool. And so then I discovered that you had played on Scott Stapp's music, and I had that record already. And so then I just started following you on Facebook and Instagram, and that's been a while now, but here we are today.
Here we are now. I love it. Just how people connect on stuff like that.
Yeah.
And that's one of the cool things about podcasts, because people are like, well, who's going to hear it? It's like, you just never know. I mean, down the road, you make friends, lifelong friends through this stuff. And
yeah, absolutely.
About somebody, or, you just listen to somebody else's knowledge on something and you learn a new thing you never tried. Like you're listening and I hear like a new mic technique from you, or like a new, just anything. It's like a new tuning idea or just something, and just sharing ideas back and forth. Like it's a fun way to do it with people without having to sit in the room. We live in different states, but much as I hate technology, like this is one of the times it's awesome.
Right. Yeah. And so that's how we connected. Was I found you on YouTube.
That's great.
So I kind of learned about you in reverse, so to speak.
Well, I'm honored you even heard about me at all. However, it worked.
So what was the catalyst to building your own recording studio? Because you live in Nashville, and I mean, you could probably just spin in a circle and hit a bunch of music studios just anywhere, really. And I've been to Nashville before. It's been a long time, but on Music Row, and just every single building is a recording studio. And I'm sure with your network of people, what necessitated being able to do this on your own?
So in 2018 into 19, I was going through a divorce. I'd been married 10 years and major life transition. And I was just like, I've never owned a house. I want to own a house. I started saving. I'd never had a savings account. I just kind of lived as like a musician, with my first wife having a corporate job, and we sort of always made it work. And I just thought, I'm in my late 30s. I've got to grow up and do some things better. And so started saving, getting my finances in order, getting out of debt. And my goal was like, buy a little house, build a studio. I've always dreamed of having a drum room. Now's the time. I live alone. I'll probably live alone forever, but if I don't invest and just jump into it now, I probably will just keep putting it off. So I started looking for houses and got a realtor who I'm good buddies with now. And this is the second house he brought me to. It's small. It's 3-bedroom. I mean, small by standards of like if you had a big family or whatever. Living alone was a piece of cake. 1,500 square feet. And we walk in and I just go straight to the garage. I haven't even walked through the house, and I open it and I see the ceiling is high, and that's what I'm looking for, because you couldn't tell in the pictures online, but I was like, I think that has a high ceiling. That's going to work. And so I turned to him and I go, this is it. I'll take the house. He's like, well, do you want to see the rest of it? I go, nope, I'm buying it because of the garage. And he was like, are you serious? And I go, yeah, I'm going to build a studio. And he's like, oh, cool. And he's thinking like 6 years down the road, you're going to build a studio. So I closed on the house in January of 2020. It all went really fast too. And the day I closed, my buddy started building the studio. We didn't know the pandemic was coming, but I just dreamed of having a studio. And I wasn't thinking ahead far enough, like, we're all going to be doing remote tracks and all this. I just thought, I want a drum room. I know I teach lessons and I want to be able to record, and I'll learn and I'll do better if I have a drum room. And so I designed it myself. It's not the greatest. It's good. And when I say it's not the greatest, I just mean like audio people walk in and be like, wait, why'd you do this or this? And I'm like, I don't know. I thought it looked cool. And I was like, and I know there's a ton of treatment in here. So we built a wall inside all the way around. There's treatment all the way in there and in the ceiling. And my big thing was to not make enough, make it dead enough where people outside can't complain.
Yeah.
First can't complain.
Exactly.
And so every wall is a different shape. And the biggest thing is I don't have bass traps in here. And some guys are like, well, why would you have a stone wall behind the drums? And I was like, I think it looks cool. And every like big studio that I've been in, not every, but a lot of them have cool stone walls. And I remember seeing like Thomas Lang's DVD and just different stuff that influenced me over the years. I go, oh, stone wall, like that just looks pro, Yeah. It was before, I don't even know if Automute or those companies existed yet. They probably did, but I wasn't aware of them. I didn't know about the idea of putting a cushion wall behind you that looks like stone. So I did the real deal. So that is stone behind me. So my buddy that kind of built the whole thing, I was just designing it and the lights and picking everything and how I wanted it to look and the walls. And I just picked everything, and then he built it, the flooring. So I really didn't do any of the work, but it was done in 4 months. And so pandemic hit in March. And this was done in April, right before Easter. We were all shut down. So I'm stuck home. I was supposed to be on this European tour with Scott Stapp. And I was panicked, but I was like, well, the first thing I recorded was a Sonic Flood song in here for Easter. And then I started teaching lessons throughout the summer, and I worked on some records. And it was the first time people had called me to like, here do a bunch of songs. So I was learning as I was going. I'd already been recording drums before that at my previous house, but looking back, my setup was really ghetto. And I was like, but just as you know, as you do it over and over, you get better, you grow, you ask questions, you learn, you buy more gear,
right?
You learn to use more gear. There's still so much I don't know, whatever, I'm 6 years in, but I've tracked quite a bit here. I was looking in the last week, I think I've done 250 sessions roughly in here in that amount of time. Some
Wow.
of them were awesome, some of them were terrible. You know, some of them sounded great, some of them don't sound great. But like I did Scott Stapp's record, last one here, and I did Amber Pacific, my punk band. We did our last record here. I've done a ton of country stuff, a bunch of worship, a lot of rock stuff. And some of the stuff I'm really proud of. And so I'm just always trying to get better at it and get better at it. And that's kind of how this has evolved into this thing. Now, probably the cool part that I don't share or don't get to share that often. But so when I remarry, and never thought I would, and I meet my wife during the pandemic, and she has all these kids, and I was thinking, I don't know if I can deal, you know, 4 kids, that's a lot. She's like, I don't know if you want 4 kids, like you're organized and clean and your house is clean and we're not. And, you know, we joke about it now because it still comes up all the time. But all that to say, when we got married, I was like, we are not going to fit in this tiny house with all these people. So this was a huge blessing, but bought a new house. My dad co-signed on the new one so that I could show enough income to keep this one. And this house, I Airbnb on the weekends, just Friday, Saturday, generally speaking, unless I'm on tour or something, I'll do it longer. But Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, even Friday up till check-in, I have available to teach and to record. And, you know, I'm not saying that like, oh, I'm doing 500 lessons a week, but I teach every week when I'm home, and that could be anywhere from 10 to 15 students. So I know some guys can knock that out in a day or two. Me, it's spread out. It's like 3, 4, 5 in a day. And then I might go play a gig. I might have a session. This week I've got 2 sessions and like 10 lessons and a couple gigs. And that's like a standard week home for me. It kind of all varies what I get. But if I had not kept this room, you know, this is just locked off during the weekend. Nobody sees it. But I work in here. So I'm having passive income on the rental house. But really, I'm just breaking even on the fact that it's making, you know, the B&B makes just enough to break even on the mortgage payment and the utility. So that's awesome. But 10 minutes from where we live. So it's like having an office. All my drums are here. I don't take any drums home. And that's partly for my own sanity so that I check out of here when I'm done working. It's like, okay, I'm not going to clean. I'm not going to fix drums. I'm not going to change. I'll sometimes take some snares and change heads. But I really try to be good about if I'm home, it's like family and kids and it's not work because I really struggle with working too much. But also with my young guys, they're super wild and active. And if I have $10,000 of drums sitting there, like something's going to get hit or broken.
Right.
It's nice to not worry about that too. But for me, also drums are always mic'd and set up. So I always have one kit ready to go. So if I get called for a track, whatever, it's not all the time. But when I do, it's like, I can go knock that out. I don't have to spend an hour setting up. I don't have to move mic. That's where it's really worth a lot. And some guys are even like, hey, can I come rent your studio for 2 days or, you know, for a day to track covers? And I'm like, no, find somebody else because I'm set up for this. And I'll come in and engineer and I'll have to move mics and stuff. To do that to make $50 is not worth my time or whatever, you know. And it's like, you can't charge people an arm and a leg to come in and do a cover. But if you don't have the time, it's just not worth it. Like if I had nothing else going and I was trying to make the studio my full time, then I'd be like, everybody come use this. I'll use it when I, you know, if I'm an engineer every day of the week. But I can't single-handedly do that.
Right.
Time for my lessons and play gigs and then still be a dad. Like it's too much. So that's what's currently working for me. And that's also been like, I've always had a touring gig. Other than pandemic, I've always toured full time as the majority of my income. So that's assuming I'm going to be gone a lot as well on the road. And I don't want to come back to, you know, if I'm gone for 2 days or a weekend or a week, I don't want to come back to the studio's a mess. And I got to take 3 hours to reset it to teach 2 lessons. Like it's just not worth the headache.
It is great having your own space because I have that myself. And I just have this fake wall drape, but
he's got a stone wall too.
I wish you wouldn't say it's fake because I would have had no idea, honestly.
Some people thought it was a green screen until I touched it, you know, and then you see it move. But I've got I got a DW kit right behind me, and it's all mic'd up and it's ready to go. And
I love it.
and so that's what I'll spend my mornings doing, is tracking, and then I start teaching at 1 in the afternoon. Now teaching is my main deal.
Yeah. How many students do you have a week? You have a ton, right?
I have 52
Oh, that's amazing.
in person.
In person, everybody comes. Wow.
Yep. Yeah.
That's really inspiring. Like, that is, you just have to commit if you're doing it. Like, you're all in to do that.
Yep.
I've got several drum teacher friends scattered out throughout the states, and I have a contract my students sign,
Mm-hmm.
their commitment to the tuition and what the expectations are, and that they're buying that time slot every week.
Mm-hmm.
Where I know some other teachers, their schedule is different every single week.
Mine is like, I just can't do what you're doing because my own schedule
Right.
is.
Yeah.
I wish I could do that, because I mean, if I were going to teach full time as nothing else, I would 100% try to do it like that. And I'm not saying I could get to that, but if I was going to commit, I'd be like, I'm going to get them where they're locked in. So every Tuesday at 1:30 is the same kid, whatever. Because that's the only way to do it with that many people, I'm sure.
Well, he only teaches on Monday through Thursday.
Yeah.
So he leaves Friday, Saturday open for gigs.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, which is awesome, how many days a week are you tracking stuff? Like, that is so up and down for me. I could have a good.
It's really up and down.
2 months with.
Yeah, it'll come in like a wave. And I'll have several to do, and then I won't have anything for a while, and then it'll come in another wave.
Yeah.
Of doing that. We used to do drum covers a lot for YouTube, and we haven't done that in a long time.
Yeah.
Thinking about firing that up again, but I would like.
I've never done the cover thing, and people are like, you should do it, and I'm like, I don't know if I want to spend the time. Like, what's gonna monetarily, what's gonna come? I don't have a huge enough platform where you're like can monetize video, and you're just gonna spend hours on it to what's the I don't know.
Well, I would think, like, with where you are, with the touring that you're doing and your network in that, it may not be necessary for acquiring work, I guess.
Yeah. So when we were doing it, there were 2 reasons behind it. One was for me to learn how to use all of our equipment and to track and mix and all that. And so it was for me to learn, but then it was also for him as we were ramping up his teaching business, because he was still landscaping full time, and then he'd come home and teach in the afternoons and the evenings.
Yeah.
And so when we started doing the drum covers, then it gave him this presence on the internet that people could go look and say, oh, okay.
Yeah. They want to take lessons from that guy.
Yeah. That makes sense. Really smart.
Yeah. So that's what we did. And video too.
Yeah. It was video. Yeah.
Yeah. You're learning that whole thing for sure.
Yeah. It, so you're teaching, you're touring. Now we got comments. Joffrey Stone says, I think drum covers are almost a give back. Maybe some kid in Iowa is like, yes, I found a cover of a song I was trying to learn.
Yeah. He's gotten comments on stuff like that before. Like, I've been looking all over for somebody to play this song. And
it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you got to, when you make the cover video, you're like, am I playing this right? Did the original guy or girl do it different?
Right. Dude, as you know.
That's why he hasn't done any Rush.
The internet experts will come out and eat you alive. Like, I see some guys playing some Zeppelin stuff that I'm like, wow, this is so amazing. This guy has really put in the time to really get the feel. And then somebody's like, well, it doesn't sound like John Bonham. Well, no kidding. It's not John Bonham. It's this other guy that's absolutely just killing this song and doing a beautiful job. Like, you can't just appreciate it for what that is. It's like, I did. I
was going to say my favorite.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Guy to see do the John Bonham stuff is LA guy, Brian Tichy.
Oh yeah, Brian Tichy. Yeah.
Yeah. He just does it so well, and all the stuff he taught on Drumeo about it. Like, I just feel like he's dialed in on that's his guy.
Yeah. Well, I haven't heard about it in a long time, but he always did this Bonzo Bash thing
Yeah,
where they had like a house band and then different drummers rotating through,
yeah. I
doing
went to
that.
that a few times because it was during NAMM. If I was out there, I'd go see it sometimes.
Yeah, that right. Exactly. Are you still a NAM attendee?
Not really. I went last year because 25. I was playing a show with Hawthorne Heights that was in like Anaheim on one of the days of NAMM.
Ah.
Oh, so I just took our rental car and went for an hour just to go see the booths. But
Yeah.
honestly, I haven't been since the heyday, and I'd say maybe 2009 was like
Oh,
the
wow.
last time I went, or 10, somewhere around there. Like really went and did the whole thing. Like I used to go, but I don't. It's changed so much, and with what I'm doing, it's just not worth. It's not worth it for me, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was there in 2019. I haven't been since, but I've heard from other drummers that have gone. It's like, oh man, it's been reduced so much,
Yeah.
and it's not what it
It's
was
very
before.
small compared to. I was shocked how small it is, and I mainly go because I'm big on. I've been with the same companies for a long time, and I'm really big on the visual face interaction with companies.
Mhm.
Saying, hey, some people think it's worth it, some people don't think it's worth it, but I always want them to remember my name and face together. So I always go talk to whoever at DW and at Peisty, at Evans and Promark. And it's hard at Evans and Promark because they've always got like new interns and young people at NAMM. But if you go to DW, every guy that works there, Don Lombardi, everybody, you can talk to everybody. And if you go to Peisty, like Kelly Peisty's there and the whole
Yeah.
staff there, and I know them all by name, and they all know me, and that's what I think is so valuable. And I tell people with endorsements all the time, is like you don't want to just be this name on their roster that they have no idea. You might be the smallest fish in the pond, but as long as you keep reminding them you're working. I send photos every tour. I try to just send updates here and there. And sometimes it's probably annoying because of social media. They can see stuff. You're tagging them, but they're not seeing it. But if you send a email to your reps and just say, hey, I'm on this tour. Thanks. Things are going well. Here's me playing in front of 30,000 people. Like it just reminds them who you are, puts the name with the face. So when you go at NAMM, you're like, hey, I'm Dango. I'm one of your guys or whatever. Now I don't even have to do it. I just walk up and they know who I am, which is great. But it's just from years of like doing that kind of thing because you're always competing against the whoever, the huge, you're not Neil Peart and you're not the
Right.
whatever. You're like, how do I just be? I'm a working drummer and I do this, but I'm valuable to your company because I'm still helping your brand and pushing your brand. And people associate, hopefully, me with the same companies that I've always done. Because I don't jump ship and I'm not picking up a new company every other month or whatever, like some guys do. So it's like if you're loyal, you stay at it, and you're helping a company over the years. I feel like they help you more and they do more for you because they know you're committed to pushing their company.
You're 100% correct. That now, I know you and I play different drum heads and sticks, but it is. I think some people have this misconception about what an endorsement is. Like they always assume, oh, you get free gear now. Well, no. I get
very few people get free gear in this
right.
day. Some
Yeah.
do. It's pretty rare.
I tell people it affords me the ability to keep sticks in my hands and drum heads on my kit, and Onyx microphones is another one that I have, and that allows me to work, to have those tools. I was a landscape contractor for a long time, and being a landscape contractor, you get special pricing at the nurseries for trees and plants and things like that, or for hardscape materials. I don't think it's really that different than having an endorsement with the company. But like I mentioned at the top of the show, with 12th Fret Music sponsoring the podcast, I thought, hey, why don't we get some drumsticks and heads in the store? And so helping organize that or make that happen with Vader and Aquarian drum, that carries a lot of weight.
It does. They've got to appreciate, here's a guy that we endorse or endorses us, and we are putting our name on him, and here he is pushing us into stores. Like, great for business, helps sales, helps the bigger picture. And then using your podcast as well, like it's a no-brainer to go why would we not want to back this guy? He's already pushing our product better than we could do in this area probably. And who else do they have in your city? You know, that's probably a
Right.
few people, but it's not like, you know, it's not like they probably have 100 guys in even in Idaho that play their stuff as one of their artists. They might, but I'm just saying probably not a ton. So
Well, as you know, being a drum teacher too, your students are going to lean on your expertise and your
yeah,
suggestion on what they should buy.
yeah,
Yeah.
And you know, when you got that many people coming through the door every week,
that's huge.
and yeah, it's like, oh, you need sticks, go get these. You need heads, go get these. You need cymbals, go get that. It's
Do
you know,
you here's a question I have for you. Since you are educating like that, do you have a deal at all worked out where you can sell sticks to the kids at any
I
situation?
don't.
I don't even know if that's a thing, but I was like,
I don't. I will sell them sticks, because Vader printed me sticks with my name on it, and so
yeah,
sometimes they're like, we have to have the sticks with your
yeah, yeah,
name on it. And so I have I'll sell them a pair of sticks if they really want
yeah.
that.
Because I also love when the companies do like a, you know, teaching roster, even listing it sometimes as a separate thing. Because I think I just see so much value in people that teach full time that do it as like this is hugely influential. So companies should value this is
Mhm.
that they should take on because, like you're saying, the amount of people you can impact as a drum teacher is crazy, especially for gear. Because when I think back, who influenced me, you know, you think of the first people you saw and some music videos or whatever in our area, you know. But then it was also like, oh yeah, this kid at school and my drum teacher had this Peisty cymbal, and I really liked it. Like that stuff sticks with you as a kid to where you know
Yeah.
even where I am now. So I think it's a big deal. Like it definitely makes a difference. And what my teacher in I was in Madison, Wisconsin, and there was a store called Drums and More, which is a pretty well-known drum shop at the time. Doesn't exist anymore, but it was one of the 5 stars back in the day. And I remember my teacher would be like, "Oh, those are awesome!" And he had a DW kit, and I always thought that's really cool. Like those are really nice drums. And I remember him, you know, saying this or this about this cymbal or stick brand or whatever, just little stuff. And you think that sticks with you when you're impressionable and you don't know yet, you haven't tried everything, you haven't figured out the stuff. So yeah, it's huge to think you can influence. I mean, that's a long tangent on why
Yeah.
I, as a teacher, you have a lot of sway. Like I have some of my students, you know, I'm never like, you got to buy Peisty and DW because they're so expensive. But
Right.
sticks and heads, especially like stuff people go through, it's really easy to go, okay, let's look at what you could use. And this is a great option. And this is why I play this. So I love when kids start to care and ask. Most kids, you know, half of them don't care at all, but I love when they just start to look at brands and be like, now, why do you know, what do you like about this? So
Yeah.
just thinking,
Well, the other thing like that's inspiring for a student is having gear that sounds good.
Yeah.
yeah,
That it's got to be set up so that they can play it well, and tuned so that when they play it they feel inspired, because you know, if you're playing on ratty equipment it doesn't sound very
yeah,
good. It's like, what's the motivation to sit and it's like playing a out of tune piano or something. It's like,
yeah.
man, this is my student Joffrey Stone is here. He says, I play Vader sticks and DW because that's what Fred's rolling.
I love it.
See, he bought an entire DW kit because that's what I have.
Man, that's cool.
Yeah.
I will
And
say, crazy how much better the entry level to mid level stuff has improved, you know, in the last 20 years. And
yeah,
high end stuff's always been high end, but like, I mean, the Pearl Export was a great kit when we were young and the Yamaha Stage Custom, but they're just like below that, everything was terrible. And now a lot of the beginner stuff's pretty good. And a lot of the entry level stuff, when I see kids get it or students, I'm just like, I can't even explain to you how much better the shells are made. And even if they're using crap material, like it's
right.
like round and you can get a head on it, you can tune it. Like it's a lot different world for kids coming up, I think. As far as gear.
I've got 2 Ludwig kits that I have for students to play on. One is the Ludwig Pocket Kit,
Yeah.
and the other one is the Ludwig Great Beats Kit.
Oh yeah.
Because they're like legitimate drum kits that come in a
Yeah,
package,
they're just smaller.
and
Yeah.
and I tune them up and put good heads on them, and they sound so good. They're like, how do you get that sound out of that?
Yeah.
Well, it's good quality.
It's
And,
so
and if you can tune, I mean, that's such
right.
an underrated thing. That's like if you can tune drums, you can make a lot of stuff sound good.
Exactly. I got to catch up on a couple comments. So, Cheeky Devil, the guy that I've been doing some tracking for, he says, I forgot to ask, have you worked with Nikki V or Colt Caparun?
Caparun.
I'm working on a song with Nikki right now and hoping to work with Colt sometime soon. Cheers. Do you know who those people are, Dango?
I do not, and I have not worked with either of them.
Oh, okay. Well, there's your answer, Fide. And then James is going to be at the Nashville Drum Show working the Tempo booth. Is that what he said? Tempo music.
Yeah.
And then James says Peter Erskine used to say that endorsements seem to work backwards. When you're an up and coming touring workhorse, you need free gear. When you're in the top notch positions and can afford gear, they give it to you.
Yeah, right.
It really is true.
It's
like you paid your dues, now you get free stuff.
Yeah.
I'm always trying to encourage younger guys, especially in town, that are just starting to look at endorsements. They're landing a touring gig, they're playing for an artist. I'm like, start now. Play the stuff you want to play. Pursue the companies with evidence that you're already working. You're already playing their stuff. It's like, here, I use your sticks or heads or cymbals already, and try to get a deal and just keep approaching them and look at it like it's a long-term relationship. And if you can get 20% off, 30% off, 40%, like it's going to work and grow the longer you do it.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
just start anywhere you get your foot in the door to be associated with them is how I try to explain it. Cause I go, it's still worth your time. And they're like, well, I can go to, Guitar Center and get this and this. I'm like, yeah, but now with as much as retail is, you're still better to get a deal with the company if you get a chance to. So
yeah,
try to do that. Even if it's, just saves you a little, it's still worth it. But play what you love. Like, don't just play something because you get a deal if you hate the product. If you can work with it, it's fine. But it's like, don't play whatever. Don't play Stag cymbals just because you get this chance to play them, or Soul Tone or whatever. Like, most of the time, it's not going to be a great scenario. And I'm sorry, if that's like what somebody loves, then play it if you love it, obviously. But I'm just saying, don't play something just because, oh, they offered me this deal and it's this guy who builds drums in his house and they're going to be cool. And I'm like, okay, we'll go for that. But that's not going to work on the road, and you're not going to be able to replace parts, and you're not going to, if you're touring, that's not really going to work. So,
well, you got to build those relationships.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think that's true with anything in the music business, is the relationships that you have. And just like you said, when we first started talking, was the different bands and artists that you played with and recorded with. Those came from, you did one thing, and then that led to the next. And as that's happening, it's just kind of snowballing and knowing more and more people. And so when they said, who's available to do this, that your name comes up. And there's some trust. There's some trust in that too. Mm-hmm. Right. I want to talk for a moment. You're a preacher's kid.
Yeah.
You're a Christian man. How does your faith influence what you choose to do? Or is there a stigma maybe to that when you're out on the road? Like, how do you balance that, I guess, is what I'm asking.
For me personally, I try to be a genuine Christian in every setting the best I can. And I'm not always a great example, and sometimes I'm a good example. Sometimes I don't say anything, so I'm not a great example. Most of my career, I've tried to sort of avoid the obvious stuff that's going to pigeonhole you right away. But I don't party, I don't do drugs, or the stuff that's like, well, of course you're not going to do that and call yourself a Christian. But a lot of the little stuff, there's a lot of gray area, and even musically, people are like, well, how can you go and do this gig or whatever? And for me, I've felt like this is where God's called me. And especially when I first got into punk rock, my dream was to play on the Warped Tour. So my first punk band, I've really played way more in non-Christian bands than in Christian bands. So my long-term punk band, we were on the Warped Tour, and I started leading a Bible study out there. And it's interesting because it came up this week on TikTok and on Instagram. People have been sending me videos. But I led a Bible study on Warped Tour, which is kind of crazy thinking back in my early 20s. And Fat Mike from NoFX, one of the iconic Warped Tour bands, he came with a camera crew to Warped Tour Bible study one night, which was crazy. And he was just kind of coming to listen and then sort of prove us all wrong as this outspoken atheist. he couldn't believe at the end of the night I came up and I was like, man, I'm a huge fan. And he's like, you are? I said, yeah, I love these records and your music's influenced me a lot. He's like, but you're a Christian? I said, yeah, because this is my faith and what I believe. But still, musically, I like a lot of things. I don't agree with you on a lot of things. So we talked all summer, shared my faith back and forth. He's still an outspoken atheist. It's not like I changed this guy's worldview, but we became friends. And I even sat in and played drums with No Effects that summer on Warped Tour, which is a huge deal because not only they're an iconic punk band that I can say I've sat in with many times, but also just that he respected me enough to allow me to do that when he didn't have to do that. So that was a cool example of me trying to live my faith in a real world setting without offending people. And you're going to offend people no matter what, because
true. Yeah.
Christianity is a narrow worldview, but that's what the Bible says. Jesus says, I'm the way, the truth, and the life, the only way to heaven. So that offends people. That's just the nature of Christianity. But the goal of Christianity is loving people and sharing Jesus. So I try to do that through my gigs and through life. And sometimes I've gotten in situations where I've said too much, and a lot of times I haven't said enough. But most of the time, if you're getting along with people, that's what they appreciate, regardless of what you believe. And they care how you live. Nobody really cares what you say. They care how you treat people. And so that's the biggest challenge. And for me, that's why, I've always felt called to be in the music world. And that's really felt like my calling. And my college professor was Chester Thompson. I had two, Chester Thompson and Brian Fullen, who were both Christians and both well-known drummers. And Chester was just really outspoken with me that, this is your calling. This is what God has for you. So pursue this. And his big thing he always said is don't have a backup plan because you'll fall back on it. This career is really tough.
Right. Yeah.
If you stick with music, this is what God's going to lead you to do, and he's going to provide. And that was, when I was 20 and 21 and 22. And so here I am at 45 thinking that really did impact me, him saying that and speaking that into my life. And then my parents have always been really supportive as a pastor's kid, and a cool, not to get too much into the Christianity thing, but my dad was an atheist and he got saved at 25 and he was a philosophy major and kind of had a C.S. Lewis conversion where he was sort of proving Christianity wrong. And my mom was Christian and he was not. And so once he got saved, he became a pastor. So my whole life I've known him as sold out in his faith and hugely impactful on me. Both my parents have. And so all that to say, they've just said, we'll support you, whatever you do, but we just want you to follow God with your life. So whether that means you have a career as a pastor or a drummer in this case, or a school teacher, whatever you're supposed to do, just do it for the Lord. That's what we want. And that's what they always said. And I think a lot of parents weren't like that in our era. And I think a lot of pastors' families weren't like that. And I didn't grow up rebellious either, which a lot of pastors' kids do. So I think they're always supportive of well, you're out there trying to do this, trying to make a difference, and you're trying to have a lifestyle to match it the best you can, because I make time.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I'm at least trying. I get back up and try to apologize and try to keep going and try to be a better husband and dad and, employee and be a better drummer. You want to do a good job as a Christian to honor the Lord. So that's my thought on it. And yeah, I could talk about it for an hour, but.
Well, I love it because you every once in a while I'll see that you'll share a short Bible verse on Facebook or something, and nothing is ever beating people over the head with what you believe, but it's not something you're shying away from whatsoever. I really believe that we're all given a God-given talent, and so we have a responsibility to use that talent. And for some of us, that's playing music, and for some, it's being you're in finances at a bank or whatever that might be. I spent so long, Dango, trying to figure out how to be a full-time musician. And part of the problem was never getting around anybody that really knew how to do stuff. Because with my band Midline, we had some really cool peaks of success, but nothing that was sustaining.
Yeah.
And so you'd live your life in a moment of oh, it's going to happen. And then you realize the amount of debt the band has because you toured on credit cards for a ridiculous amount of time and all of those things. And I was like, man, how can I become a full-time drummer? And my backup plan was to be a landscaper. So there you go. You know, if you have a backup plan, you're going to go with that backup plan. Well, I wound up having skin cancer, and I had this melanoma spot on my neck, and so they cut this big chunk out of my neck. And looking back at it, I'm thankful now that I had that happen to me, because it was the thing that had to refocus my entire life to become a drummer. And as I've dedicated more and more time to doing that, just things continually unfold. And I thought a lot of that has to do with prayer and seeking that wisdom.
Yeah.
And it's really cool how it continues to unfold. And
Absolutely.
and I you know, we barely know each other, but I see that in your life as well. Like, just being obedient to what your calling is.
Man, I agree. And I feel like there's a lot of peace in that. And that's the hard part to explain to people who either don't get Christianity or they're Christians, but they're just struggling to find purpose. And it's like, especially as musicians, we all have our own ego and pride and our striving for greatness, which is from God, which I really believe. So it's like you want to be the best you can, and you want to be an example, and you want to be good at your job or your career or just music in general. We all want to be good at drums or we wouldn't be trying. But at the same time, it's like your peace isn't in that. You're satisfied through having a relationship with Jesus, and then just being faithful and doing what you do. And once you start to realize that, like it's like also part of being thankful. You just can be content, because otherwise you're in this rat race with everybody where there's always somebody bigger and better and faster and making more and better at drums. And, like, you're never going to be the best or be the top. So just give up now, or figure out what your purpose is and be faithful, and you can find peace there and enjoy it. And that's what so much of life is just about. It doesn't matter if it's music or not. If you can be thankful in the day-to-day what you're going through. And, I have some hard days like everybody, and I have had a lot of health struggles, have financial struggles, whatever. Like, we all have stuff, and nobody escapes having stuff that's tough. But when you do, you stop and think, man, but I have a family, and I've had dinner every day this week, and we haven't missed any meals, and our lights are still on, my car's still running. Like, there's so many basic things that you can just stop and be thankful for and be like, wow, I'm really blessed. And this year especially, I've probably been in 20 countries, been all over Asia, been all over Europe on tour, and all through Hawthorne Heights. It's the 20th anniversary for them. I'm getting to see all these cool places. Super thankful that they've allowed me to be a part of it. And you just go to different places in the world, you're like, man, we are really, really fortunate in America. And I know there's plenty to be unhappy about here, and politics, you can argue this and that, whatever.
Right. Yeah.
I am so thankful for our freedom, for our country, and just the way we get to live. And I try to explain that to my kids. I'm like, you can't be self-employed everywhere in the world, and you can't pursue a career in music or doing hair or doing nails. Like, some of this stuff just doesn't exist in other places, and here you can do it full time, and you can make a living, and you can do it legally with the government, and you can file taxes this way. Like, it's hard to explain to people, but it's really like it's just like, we are so fortunate to be at this time and get to be here. So yes, there's always crap to complain about, but more so, what can you be thankful for? Because if you start your day and end your day just thinking, well, this is what I'm thankful for today, your outlook on life will be totally different. And I am like, not wake up and be happy. Like, I'm way more pessimistic by nature, but the older I get, the more I'm just constantly like, life is about being thankful. So, man, look at what I get to do. I get to play drums today. I get to teach drums today, or here I have a day off and get to do stuff with my kids. Like, if you just can look at life a little more like that instead of the negativity. And it's social media. I mean, I'm on social media too, but it weighs on you, and the comparison game, and look at this guy and this girl, look what they're doing, and look at their career. If you can get out of that and just be thankful, I think that's part of the Christian journey, but I think that's just part of life being happy.
Yeah, absolutely. When it comes to social media, I had this this weird thing it's been several years ago now, but a couple people that I went to church with had texted me or messaged me through Messenger. So Mary, you can probably help me remember this exactly, but something along the lines of like, you have this audience, like, why aren't you being more over the top kind of with my faith?
Oh, yeah.
And they were really criticizing me for that. And I'm like, now wait a second. Like, most of my social media is all about music or drumming. And when I am playing at church or at a church, I'm posting about that. And so I'm not like running away from this by it. At the same time, I'm like, you have a social media page too. Like, you could also
Why are you
do
telling
this
me?
thing. But it was just weird to have that kind of criticism happen.
It is, and I love the church and I love the Christian world, but there's there's so much negativity of stuff like that. I've never
Yeah.
bashed the church because the church is like the bride of Christ, and it's so important. And I think being connected and part of a home church is huge. And most Christians today just don't have that view and don't share that. But that is biblical, I think.
Yeah.
But you're always going to have that. And I can tell you, growing up as a pastor's kid, the complaining and the different stuff you see, it is hard. And I've been on staff at a couple of churches. I've been a youth pastor. I've seen a lot of stuff where you're like, this goes on, and it does. And there's
Right.
like, just as much brokenness in church world as not in church world. So you're always going to get criticism from Christians. And, you know, it's the same like when I first got my tattoos. And I remember, you know, there was just Christians who were like, well, this guy's speaking at a youth conference and he's got full sleeves. Like, there was always complaints about stuff like that until you start sharing your heart and people get to know you. And it's like, you can't please everybody. But at the end of the day, you stand before the Lord. You don't stand before these people who are going to sit and judge us, especially for something dumb like that, like social media. And you think I should do this or that. Like, live by your own convictions and share what you think you're supposed to share. But
yeah, that right there.
It is what it is. Like, you can't, you're just not going to please everybody because you're going to be too much for some people. As soon as you start doing whatever, somebody's like, well, I think you're a bad testimony because you're doing this or this. And you got to live your life, man. And you can't, it's just so hard because you want to please everybody. I do. I'm a people pleaser, but also I go, it's impossible. Like, I've got to figure out my priorities, what's important, which is to me, the Lord, my family, and then my career. And I have to try to keep it in that order. Sometimes my career becomes too important. Then I got to stop and go, all right, bring the family back because drums are not going to be here forever, but my family is going to be. So
yeah, that's great. That's great. I don't know if you run into this, but you know, having the full schedule of teaching that I do, I get people of all different walks of life coming in. And the commonality, though, is they want to learn how to play this instrument.
Yeah.
and so that's my number one goal with anybody that walks in the door. And the other is like other music teachers be like, well, how do you have that busy of a schedule and not burn out? And I'm like, for me, I never know when the next John Bonham's walking through the door. So I treat everybody as if they were going to be that person.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And so when this door opens and I'm like, who's the next rock star we got? Like, I just feel like I'm working with a rock star every time the next student walks in the door. But I know some music teachers that I've run across have not accepted a student because maybe they were kind of, let's just say, going along with some of the social norms that are happening right now. And so they don't want to work with those people, which I thought was really interesting. I'm like, I kind of view that as an opportunity, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely.
To have the commonality of music, first of all, and then what influence you may have on that person, I think is something to keep in mind. Because I think we're called to do that.
Yeah, and it's almost like a fun challenge in a good way to just be like, especially when people know I'm a Christian, to think, you assume I'm going to be judgmental of whatever situation is, and I can come in and try and be loving. And I'm not always, but I'm just saying, like, I try to go into situations where I go, they're going to assume a Christian's going to come in and be a terrible addition to this group, and I'm going to come in and love people and not be judgmental of whatever I agree with, and try to have real conversations about stuff. But students be the same because, all walks of life. And what is this teacher going to think of me? And you think, I'm going to teach you drums and just try to encourage you and be a good influence and a light in your life. And if I'm encouraging you every week, you're going to be drawn back whether you know why or not, because you're going to be like, well, this teacher is building into my future and my life. And a kid can't, most times isn't going to be able to enunciate all that and think about it, but they'll just I'd be like, well, I love this. I want to come back for lessons. Because I think that with all my kids, like all my students, most of them are kids. There's a few adults, but it's like what keeps them coming back. A lot of it is just keeping them joy in what they're doing. And,
Right.
I love to see them grow as drummers, but I love to see them just excited about the instrument. They might still suck, but if I can get to week 3, week 4, still loving the instrument, I'm like, this is a win. Their parents probably couldn't have done this. And
Yeah.
there's just some joy in communicating with kids, especially that's like, if I keep you excited about anything, it's a good thing in your life. Like, this is a good outlet. It's not wasting your time on your tablet or on phone or whatever. Like, you're doing something with your mind and brain. And you may not play
Yeah.
drums more than a year, but you might be playing in 20 years and super glad you did this. So
Absolutely.
just staying at it.
Hey, Gary Tackett is here, Mary.
Hi, Gary.
Gary Tackett is a guitarist that lives here, but he's a Nashville transplant. And he used to play with Merle Haggard and with Billy Currington. Is that right? Maybe Gary can answer that question.
That's awesome.
But
I
play
asking Gary.
I play with Gary in his Eric Clapton tribute band.
Oh, that's cool.
And we just played this last Saturday night in Glenn's Ferry at a theater there, and he flew in Myron Dove, who was the bass player from Santana, to play that show with us, which was awesome. When we left at the end of the night, I put my arms around Myron. I said, "Can we keep him?"
Very cool. Hey, that reminds me, not reminds me, but thinking of Billy Currington, his drummer is Jamie Rogan, a good buddy of mine, and he's been on that gig for 20 years. Nashville guy, got a degree in drums. He teaches, he tours, he does Broadway. He's just another guy that like you should look into having on, because he's a kindred spirit, like-minded guy.
Oh, cool.
Awesome. Also a believer and does a lot of cool worship stuff too, but he's just one of those Nashville guys that's kind of flies under the radar, but he's been Billy's band leader for, I don't know, 21 years or something, like a long time. And he's a legit.
What's his name again?
His name is Jamie Rogan.
Oh, I know that name.
I'm going to say he's like early 50s. He doesn't do, I mean, he's on social media. I'm like, he's not your social media guy doing videos all the time.
Right. Yeah.
He's a legit working, always working drummer. Always doing this, and he loves the teaching side, so I know you connect them on that too.
Yeah, absolutely. So you brought up Broadway.
Yeah,
I know what Broadway is, but can you tell our viewers what Broadway is and what that entails? And
I know most people, when they hear Broadway, they think New York City,
right?
And right, the Lion King,
which would be awesome as well if I had the chance to do a gig like that.
Yeah,
definitely jump on it.
Yeah. So I see you post frequently, like when you're home, that you're down there working.
Yeah, and
run us through that.
It's a very unique culture, only in Nashville. I don't think it exists anywhere in the world like this, but there's a 3 or 4 block radius, hundreds of bars that sometimes change. Some are original, have been there forever. Some are changing, but they all have bands playing 4-hour shifts generally. And this happens throughout the day, every day of the week. And so there's usually a shift from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., 2 to 6, 6 to 10, and then 10 to when the bar closes, which is usually 2:30. And that varies by season, day of the week, time, what's going on. Some of these bars have 2, 3, 4 floors, depending on the season. If it's summer and it's slammed, you could go down there and hear 100 bands easily at the same time. And it's crazy because they're all playing. And so when you commit to that, you're committing to show up. As a drummer, you bring there's shells and stands. You bring cymbals, snare, pedal, throne, and I bring a fan. And so it's a lot. It's like enough you have to bring a cart or something because it's a lot to carry. And you have to bring wing nuts and felts. They don't have those at any venue either. That's just the way Nashville works. And I was kind of like, what do you mean no throne or no pedal? But once you just get used to bringing your own, it just becomes the thing. And when you're playing 4 hours, you're kind of glad to have your own stuff anyways. But you commit to 4 hours, you got to know a ton of music. It took me 10 years of being back here before I finally jumped in because I was like, I don't know enough country.
Wow.
Predominantly country, but it's a lot of rock. It's a lot of 90s rock. It's sort of whatever people request. And that will vary depending on the bars. There's older bars that will only do classic country, so you can only play up to the 90s. and it's got to be strictly country. There's a few of those bars, but that's getting smaller and smaller as the world becomes more Morgan Wallen and more like Luke Combs and just modern country stuff. A lot of the bars you can play anything. So really overwhelming for me. But as I dove in, I took a gig because a friend hooked me up, and I was playing like a Thursday night at a bar that wasn't very busy. I was sort of learning the repertoire. And after a few months, they fired me. Like, you just don't know enough songs. So when we get requests, you never know.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, okay, well, thanks for giving me a shot at it. And so then I just kept learning, and I kept diving in. And I'm pretty good on the fly. Like, I can follow, and just from church world especially, I don't panic or shut down. But a lot of those country songs have hits and stops, and especially the 90s country stuff. There's some really cool drum stuff on a lot of it. So if you get lost and there's a major time change, you're just like, how would I have known that was coming? Like, this is a massive hit. How do you not know?
Right.
I didn't grow up with that. I grew up with rock, and this was not my world. So that's kind of how you get into it. I always tell guys, like, you need to know about 200 songs to jump in, and that's a lot. Yeah. But even if you know 50 or 60, just jump in and start learning as you go. And they request a song you don't know, just make it, make a note of it, and then learn it that week. Because it's just so much, it's overwhelming to learn. If you grew up with any country background and you can play, I would say jump in and start faking it until you make it. But it's a process. Every guy and girl down there I know has a story of like, well, it took me this many months, years, whatever, to feel comfortable. Now I'm at a place where I don't know everything at all, but if you called me to play any shift down there, I'd probably jump in. Maybe one of the classic country bars, I never play those. And if they did, I might be scared because I'm like, well, I only know a couple Patsy Cline songs. I don't know 10. Some of that stuff, if it's just not in your wheelhouse, you just say. But most of the time, you jump in. And so there's steady bands that play all the time. And then there's bands that just pick up, and you'll get a call like, hey, can you play tonight 6 to 10 with so-and-so? And I do it a lot, and I haven't even met the guys. And I show up, and we just start calling songs. And so there's you kind of know how stuff goes, and you know different ways of doing. There's the right way, the wrong way, and the Broadway, we call it. And it's called Broadway.
I love that.
Because sometimes it's hard to know. Like, I learned some stuff from the record, and then I get in there, and you're playing Sweet Caroline, and everybody drops out in the chorus for bop, bop, bop. If you don't know that, you're just playing through, and the first time you hear it, like, why'd everybody stop? There's tons of those examples in songs, so you just have to learn this is the way it goes on Broadway. And you just know there's a stop here, and the crowd yells. Like, there's tons of that stuff. But if you can learn the basic stuff, they're going to call Sweet Home Alabama, they're going to call Freebird, they're going to call classic standards. And usually you don't have to play Zeppelin or stuff like that, but you also will get some Zeppelin. So it's like, you better know a couple. You don't have to know 10 Zeppelin songs, but if you can get by with a couple, you'll be okay. And you start building it like that too. Like, okay, I know a Garth Brooks song, so I can kind of get by. Friends in Low Places. Everybody knows this song. Kind of. Again, I didn't know it till I played Broadway. I'd never even heard it. I'd never heard Fishing in the Dark. I'd never heard, songs by Alabama, and just songs that are like, I'm surprised I lived and didn't know they existed. But there's a lot of songs like that. And I started playing in a rock band down there the last 2 years, and we were playing to a click, and we had a 4-hour set on click, and every request was on click, super tight band. And we'd get like a Poison request or Def Leppard or something. And the band would all know it because they had played in the circuit and only done rock for 5 years. And I'd been doing all this country Broadway. They're like, what do you mean you don't know this Poison song? I'm like, I've never even heard it. I don't know what we're talking about. And I was like so into the country stuff. I thought, like, I know a lot of butt rock and I know a lot of 80s rock. And I just, sorry, I don't know this Def Leppard song. Like, this is a massive hit. How do you know? I'm like, I don't know. I didn't have the record. Sorry. I run into it on both sides. Like, you just can't know all the material, but that's maybe the fun of it, is that you constantly are learning. Like, some people dog Broadway like it's not a pro gig, and it's like, it really is. Yes, you could go down there and there could be a 20-year-old that just moved to town that's terrible, but you could also see a 20-year-old who's like unbelievable and is playing all these classic country songs and knows every guitar lick, and you're like, how is this kid this good? So there's a lot of both. And I feel like it's made me better. It's made me better because of, as a drummer, you have to play a lot of train beats. You have to play a lot of shuffles. You have to play, a couple Stevie Ray Vaughan songs and a couple, like, you're going to have some of those songs in there that until you learn them, you just don't know how to do that stuff, and you start learning them. And then a lot of the 90s country is shuffle. So you're playing an Alan Jackson song or something like that. And I didn't grow up knowing any of those artists. Now you just tell me an artist, I could probably name 10 songs. And it's made my wealth and catalog of music I know so much better, and always trying to learn, because every week I'm going, okay, somebody calls me. Sometimes they call you day of. Sometimes it's like, okay, can you play Friday? And I go, okay, do you have any new songs in your set? Is there anything I need to brush up on? And that's really good, because you're always putting new material in the tank. And people are like, what do you listen to? And I'm like, I don't really listen to music for fun. I love music, but I'm always learning. So if I like, even if I'm at the gym and I don't have a gig today, I'm like listening to a playlist of newer country stuff so that I kind of know what's coming out or what people are requesting. And it's the same with stuff.
I was going to ask, like, how do you know what songs to learn? Like, is it a mix of new and old and just like everything? Because that's you said 200 songs, but it's like, that's just like a drop in the bucket.
Yeah, and it is overwhelming, because I probably know 500 to 600 now that I've been doing it for 10 years on Broadway. But that said, there's new stuff all the time that you don't know, and you're like, oh, new. If it's a new number one, you better learn it, because it's going to get called, and it may stick around for 10 years or it may fizzle out. That's the thing, you don't really know with the new stuff, but you can always keep learning the classics. And a lot of classic rock I've heard, but I just have not learned. And so, for example, if you get an Ozzy request, like, you probably know a ton of Ozzy songs. I don't. I know a handful, but I just go, okay, here's a big artist, and probably learn a few more. So every now and again, I'll pull up and just go, okay, what could I listen to today? And go, these are big hits, probably worth knowing. And even if you don't get them on Broadway, just like anything, they're worth knowing for appreciating music and for being on another gig. And somebody goes, this riff kind of sounds like Ozzy. We're going to do this. And you can go, oh, I've played an Ozzy song. I know what we're like. That's just so good too, because so many times, or on a session, somebody's like, I want this vibe, and can you make it kind of like, I want Allman Brothers. And for a lot of years, I've been like, well, I don't know what the Allman Brothers sound like. So when somebody says that for a session, especially, like, the more wealth of knowledge you have, the better it is. So back to the Broadway thing. You play the 4-hour shift. Sometimes you get no pee break, which is tough. Sometimes you get a song go off, and the singer will play acoustic. Lots of times there's a few singers so that they can take breaks, but you're on a stage with anywhere from 3 to 6 people. I'd say usually averages 4 or 5 people on the gig, and you get through the 4 hours and you make tips. And the bar might pay you $100 base pay each guy and girl. It could be as low as $50 if you're in Tootsie's, which is the old school. And the new Morgan Wallen's and Jason Aldean's bars could pay you $150 to $200 a guy. Wow. The rest is all tips. The newer bars don't let you run the tip jug, so you're relying on the base pay and a Venmo QR code up on the wall if somebody wants to request a song. People will do that. But the old school bars, which are Tootsie's and Honky Tonk Central, they let you run the bucket. And the sky is the limit on the money you can make in those. Even though the base pay sucks, you could make $500, $600, $700, $800 on a crazy gig where tips just go nuts. And I'm saying per guy in the band.
Is Tootsie's the purple building?
Yeah.
So so as a person attending Broadway and, like, going up and down, like, what's the protocol? Like, if we were to go in there and watch people play, like, what?
All the venues are free. You just go in. People go in to drink, sometimes eat, and then it's customary to expect to tip the band. You don't have to, but people are going to expect, if you want to hear a request, you tip the band. It's often $20. If it's a Tuesday in the afternoon, you could tip $5 and get a song. But if it's a weekend and it's slamming, you're going to have to tip $20 to hear a song. So that's what starts adding up, obviously. Yeah. And I also find, just from the demographics of watching people, the newer hip bars are young college people drinking that don't have money and don't tip. Old bars that have boomers are where you make the money, because it's career people and retired people and just people who have money and are more generous. So like, if you're playing at Kid Rock's, which is in that circuit with Tootsie's and the older ones, it's the more boomer demographic, and it's just way better to make money. But
those people have walking around money.
And so, but all the big stages you play on, you have the better chance to make money too. So all that to say, it's a career. Guys and girls do it full time. I have friends who do 10 shifts a week, and so they're playing 4 hours at a time. So lots of those guys, if you figure 7 days, they're playing doubles on at least 3 of those, sometimes triples, sometimes a 12-hour day. I've done it once. And I've done doubles probably 20 times. And I hate doing doubles because my body hurts. I'm sore. My knee kills. Like, it doesn't even feel worth it financially. But you could walk home with, $300, $400, $500, $600, $700, $800 and be like, I slept in my own bed and I played music in the town I live in. Like, where in the world could you do that and play cover music? Like, it's like nothing else. So that said, it's a very cool career option. And then a lot of guys like me sort of use it supplementally. I love it for the relationships, and I love it because I can go make $200 tonight.
Yeah.
So is it hard to get on the roster?
Kind of. It's, again, who you know, but once you're in, even though I'll leave for months. So I had a steady gig 2 years with this rock band that was the best money I've ever made down there. And I lost it this year while I was on tour. And they're just like, you're going too much. And I said, I get it, but I'm not quitting Hawthorne Heights for Broadway. It's just, if I moved here to do Broadway and that was my goal, which some guys and girls it is, and I go, that's great. You can have a great career. All the guys in that band where it's like, they were, I say older like me, guys in their 40s who were like, I don't want to be on the road. I've got young kids at home. I'd rather play Broadway and be home every day, which makes sense.
Yeah.
And it's still rewarding. Like, musically, it can still be fulfilling for you to play with great musicians. The harder thing about bouncing around is you could play with good musicians. You could play with the hack. You just don't know because you're jumping.
That's what I was going to ask you. Is there like, are you playing with somebody different every time you do that?
Yeah. Every time I post, I am. And so it's like you just build relationships and people call you back. But every time I show up, it's like, oh, it's this guy, but 2 guys I don't know. Or, hey, we got one new guy. Or, hey, like, that's always the case. Or a different girl singer this week. Or, So the more people you know and speak highly of you, the better off you are because the more calls you'll get and the more money you'll make, obviously. But for me, it's like the fact that I can teach, have a touring gig, and do Broadway, and then do my sessions, all 4 of those combined are what make me a full-time musician at the end of the year. And when one slows down, the other picks up. So let's say I have 2 months off touring. I'm going to dive hard into Broadway. I'm going to call everybody, text everybody, I'm home. Please call me this week. And that's what I did this week. I was like, well, I'm not on the road this weekend. It's the middle of summer. I'm always gone. So I'm going to let everybody know. And the next day I was like, oh, hey, I need you Friday, Saturday. And I'll probably get, I would say probably 2 more this week. And 4 is plenty for me. I mean, I'd love to do, financially, I need to do more than 4, but 4 would be great because I've still got my lessons and sessions this week. So it's like it all adds up, but it's a gamble because of those 2 gigs, I could make $200 on them each, or I could make $350. Like, it's not going to be, they're not going to be $500 gigs, but it's still going to be money. And it's just like it's going to work, doing another work shift.
Sure. Yeah.
Mine is playing music. So, and
I wanted to clarify, like, a 4-hour shift
is hard.
You're not talking about 4:45s. You're talking about 4 straight hours.
It is 4 straight, and you get used to it. Yeah. I'm amazed the guys who do doubles and triples all the time, because there are guys down there. I don't know any females that do. I'm sure there are. Most of the females are singers, and there are girls who just play drums or just whatever. But most of the girls down there are front, singers, so they can't do doubles and triples on their voice. Some of them
I was just gonna say, like, because I'm a singer, and I can't imagine, like, I mean, in my band there's a guy singer, so we go back and forth. We're an 80s tribute band, and so, like, he'll lead songs and I'll sing it back up, and vice versa. So we're never truly, like, when we do a 3-hour set or a 3-hour show, it's 3 sets of about 45 minutes, and neither one of us is singing the whole time, like, leading. So I can't imagine singing 4 hours straight.
Right.
And so I was going to ask you, like, what's the age range of the musicians down there? Because I imagine, like, the older you get, the harder that regimen is. And especially singers, like, I mean, drummers, obviously you're sitting and you've got, like, that pressure, sitting all day, for hours. But, like, for singers, like, how do they,
I would say
older singers, are there even older singers? Are they all like 20s and 30s?
Most of the singers are younger. There's some in their 40s and maybe a handful in their 50s. The players are kind of range 20 to 50, I'd say, is sort of the spectrum, the most, with a few exceptions in there, but
well, that's still a big range.
It is, and it becomes a real health thing of how you take care of yourself, because
young
people down there, some of them just party hard and do blow and drink every day, and you're like, I don't know how you're still going. You've been doing this for 5 years. And there's some that are like fitness health Nazis that just show up every day and their protein shakes, and they won't drink soda, and they're just like, I'm here and I have and they're in great health. So I've seen it both ways for sure. I just think the older you get, the more you start thinking about like all of us, you just start thinking about your longevity. So for me, I battle injuries and rotator cuffs and tears and little things like that. And then I've had a knee replacement on my kick leg and 6 years on this knee. So my arthritis is like, wow. So I started peptides this year. I'm very active I probably work out 5 days a week, and I'm trying to get this knee better, but I play in pain, sitting in pain, sleeping in pain. And so that's where you go, it's not worth doing the double. Yes, I could use the money, but my leg really can't put up with that.
Right.
Really way that stuff. So the singers, I don't know as much how they last, but most singers I know, I could name a few, but most of them try to do 3, 4, 5 shifts a week. And even that's a lot, where they're doing a 4-hour, going back and forth. I know a couple singers who do the whole shift and nobody else sings. And I think that's crazy, but there's some of those. And I know a few girls who pump out like 9 shifts a week. And I'm like, you're probably not going to be doing that into your 40s, but good for you. Still doing it. So
that's nuts.
It is. It's a whole culture down there. And and Facebook pages, and that's how you often hear about gigs. Most of the time I get a text for a gig, or a friend refers me, hey, I passed on this, can you do it? But there's also, you'll see on a Facebook page, need a drummer today at 2:00, who's available? And sometimes if I'm like, well, I got nothing, I'll jump on and try to respond, or if I know the person, I'll always text them because it'll be fast. If I don't, I may not want the gig unless they say, oh, but it's at this great venue, really good bass pay. Then I'll go in totally blind, because I go, well, worst case, I'll show up, make $200. That's more than some people's jobs pay in a day. So it's just worth doing in a lot of those settings. But a lot of settings, it's not. And you just have to weigh it by, what are your needs? How long have you been here? And I have one friend, Jeremy, that's a drummer in town. He does it full time, and he doesn't tour anymore. And he's one of my best friends. And he just always says he probably does 9 or 10 gigs a week, never burns out. He's Mr. Positive Attitude. And he goes, I have a wife and a baby at home, and I get to be home, and I play drums for a living.
Yeah.
What are you complaining about? I'm like, well, you just did 3 shifts, 12 hours. He's like, yeah, playing drums. How hard is life? Like, really? And it always blows my mind, because I'm like, I'd be exhausted. What'd you make? He goes, who cares? I made money playing drums. Like, he just does not stress it. And he works so much and so hard that he always, and he makes great money too. So the guys who really do it like that, I mean, the people who do Broadway full time are making 6 figures. So they're making a good living.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, you really can, but you have to be at it a long time and land the better gigs. Like if you're new to town and you start doing Broadway, you're not doing that. But if you've been here 10 years, you're dialed in, you have good gigs, and every time you go out, you're going to make $200, $300, $400. Like that does add up quickly. So it is pretty cool to see. And for me, I love that it's another outlet to come home, play different music. I'm always this rock guy on the road, and I've landed some country gigs, but it's like I always want to get better at country and get better at different styles. And I want to get called for other stuff besides rock, because I love rock. But it's like I've done a lot of rock. It'd be cool to do some other stuff as well. So, my dream is still, I want to land a huge country gig at some point if I can. And I've gotten to play with some great country artists and tour with them. But like, it'd be awesome to be on some country arena tour, and I have never done that. So that's in my list of goals. It's not I'm not going to, if I die without doing it, I'll be fine. But it's like, you always want to keep pursuing other stuff and getting better. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what are your, if for anybody who's going to go visit Nashville, what are you have to go to these 3 places?
Are you asking for us?
Or anybody?
Yeah.
Well,
like, you got to go to these clubs, or you got to go to this thing or whatever.
If you love music, I would say visit the Grand Ole Opry. It's very unique. It's just Nashville. I've gotten to play there a handful of times. And it's not a free thing, but it's like you go and there's always somebody legit, and everybody gets up and plays 2 songs or whatever. Like it's just it's a cool country thing that's been around forever.
Yeah.
Okay.
As far as downtown Nashville, the Ryman Auditorium is another, used to be the Grand Ole Opry, but it's called the Mother Church. It's a very cool classic venue. If there was a show there that you wanted to see, that's an awesome venue to see it at in town. As far as Broadway, the cool thing is in an hour, half hour, you could walk into 10 bars. So I just say go see that, see the people watching. It's worth it. If you've never been, or even if you've been, it changes every few years. Just go down there and see it. You don't even have to spend $1. You could spend an hour or two. You could get a drink at a bar or whatever, but it's just, you know, you don't have to tip any bands. You could just walk and see, and you'd see some great bands. And, you know, some people dog it, whatever. I think Broadway is very awesome and cool, and you'll see great players. And so many of my friends are down there all the time. I love the community, because if I wasn't, I'm not playing today, but if, let's just say I was walking downtown, I'd see at least 50 people that I know well and have gigged with just walking down the street in 10 minutes. I mean, that's how it is. And so I think you could walk into several bars and hear really good bands, and you'd walk in and you'd just hear some average, or you'd hear a good band and a rough singer, or you'd hear the best singer in the world and like kind of a crappy drummer or whatever. Like it could be a mixture.
Sure.
But you would hear some cool music and you'd hear some less cool. But Broadway's always worth the experience.
And how many different bars do you play in on Broadway?
I mean, I have probably played in 30.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I mean, regularly I probably play in 15 or 20.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And so they're all different. They all have their own little things. Some things are weird. Some things are cool. Some have good sound. Some sound sucks. Like there's just like where you go, you always have that stuff. Oh, that's another thing about the Broadway thing. Like the newer bars give you a free meal, and they have awesome food, and they give you a $40 drink or food tab. And I don't drink, so I can always get like an awesome meal, and I'll either go early or get the food after, and give you the base pay. The older bars don't do that, but again, if you're making twice the money, you don't care. You'd rather make the money than the food. But just it's a different perk you have to go with. So
what's like some of the weirdest or most memorable things that have happened to you, either on Broadway or just like touring around, like crazy weird stuff?
Way more touring than Broadway. Like I was on Broadway for so long, but touring, I feel like I've just done so much more of my life on the road in the last 20 years. One of my craziest stories that I've shared back in the day was when I was playing in Amber Pacific, my longtime punk band. We toured like 10 years and then got off the road, but we're still a band, put out a record last year. And I say still a band, like these are brothers for life, but we're not touring anymore. They all got normal careers except me. But did several Warped tours together, several real tours, and we were on this tour playing in Philadelphia. And this one night we were coming out and signing CDs on the street, and this police, well, first of all, and I am super pro police. This is not going to sound like it in the story, but I'm so supportive of our police, military, etc. And the streets are packed, and all these police are coming by on horses trying to kind of clear a crowd, which we weren't really the problem at all. We just happened to be there in bad timing. And this police officer grabbed me, and he was a huge dude, and he picked me up and slammed me against our trailer. They kept, get out of the road. You need to get out of the road. And we were like trying to get on the sidewalk, and it's just packed. You can barely move. And he handcuffed me, and I was just like, I'm like this pastor's kid from a small town who's never done. I mean, I have barely had a speeding ticket, like no run-ins with the law other than that. And he was cussing at me and just shouting at me and just wanting me to act up and be fired up. And all these kids are standing there watching who were like fans of our band. And as much as I was furious, I like in the moment was like, man, what would Jesus do here? And it's crazy that it came to me at that moment. But I was like, well, I know he wouldn't respond and he wouldn't be angry. He would calm down about this. And so I did. And finally the guy, I said, sir, I haven't done anything, and I'm not the problem with whatever's going on. And I think he was expecting me to just talk back, and I didn't. And so finally let me go. And all these fans were watching. I knew it was like a cool opportunity to be a good example to them. Yeah. But it was also just such a bizarre thing of like, how in the world did I get handcuffed? That's never happened. And it was pretty scary. I mean, if you've ever been handcuffed, it's a bizarre thing if you've never had it. And to be under pressure with authority is like, I'd never been in that situation. So
yeah, that'd be scary.
That's one of the most bizarre ones that I can remember. Sure. I mean, I have tons of touring stories that are like crazy.
Yeah, sure.
So
Well, I think Fred's craziest story, and I always bring it up because I think it's so funny, and I always wonder if other people have these experiences. But there was that club that you played. Was it Milwaukee?
The rave in Milwaukee that's supposed to be haunted.
Have you ever
that's my
had any
homeland.
experiences there?
Say that again.
That's my homeland. Growing up in Madison, so I definitely been a zillion times.
So, have you had any experiences with ghosts in the theater?
No, but I mean it's pretty creepy, and
Is it?
yeah, it really is. And the pool underground, all of it's pretty creepy, honestly.
Oh, I forgot about the pool. Yeah.
We
Well, and across the street, that hotel, that's where Jeffrey Dahmer had killed a bunch of people, and it was connected to that venue. Yeah, and there was a club that was part of that venue underneath. That's what the whole pool was. So there was a bunch of sketchy, illegal stuff. I mean, I would say highly demonic. And without getting into the spiritual side, like,
yeah,
I'd say the ghost stuff there is probably real.
Wow.
So my band had this Jägermeister sponsorship, and so Jägermeister used to do these Jägermeister tours, and so one that we were on, it was us and Breaking Benjamin, Head PE, and Saliva. And this is back when Breaking Benjamin was just they were just barely signed too. Yeah. Like they were traveling in a ratty old tour bus, and we were traveling in a ratty old motorhome, and everybody's moving their own gear, and there was this pyramid stack of chairs downstairs, and the local crew guys, the drummer from Saliva came down there and was acting like he was going to kick him over, and they're like, I wouldn't do that, the ghosts will get mad. And I'm kind of like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of staying pretty neutral. And so he does, he kicks this whole stack of chairs over, and they're like, oh, something's not going to go right tonight. So when Saliva went to play their set, they got into maybe the second song, and the PA completely shuts down, but everything's on. Like they cannot get sound to work whatsoever.
Seriously.
Yeah. And after about 20 minutes or so, it just came back on.
Weird.
Probably how long it took the ghost to put the chairs back up.
It could be.
Now that we've got our chairs back the way they belong, we can.
We didn't mess with anything, so we were safe as kittens. But we just didn't.
You guys are like, we're not messing with that.
No, we're not touching this thing.
There's ghosts in here. We are not messing with the ghosts.
That stuff definitely happens for sure. That's great.
All right, so as we're getting close to the end here, Dango, I've been doing some research thing on a project I'm working on. I can tell you off camera what it is, but
yeah.
You have all of this great experience in working with different artists and teaching and recording and working on Broadway. I want to know 5 things that every working drummer needs to know to elevate their game. And this could be gear, this could be mindset, anything, but just 5 things. 5 things that you could rattle off.
All right.
And not overthink it or anything like that.
Yeah. The first thing I'm going to say is be teachable.
Aha.
As a musician, you should always be growing, but always be teachable. Because when you're not willing to listen to input from more experience, more wisdom, there's so much more wisdom out there and people who've done it before you and longer than you. That's my first one. My second one is play with as many different musicians as you can. I tell you players this all the time. You will get better playing with as many people as you can who are not from the same background as you.
Ooh, yeah.
My third is listen to music you don't like. And this is one of my biggest regrets as an adult. I grew up sheltered. I could only listen to kind of Christian music as a kid, which I go back and forth with my parents about. And I didn't know who Led Zeppelin was till I don't know, high school. Pretty late. And so just the principle of I hate country. I'm not playing country. When I came to Belmont, I was like, I'm a rock guy. I don't do country.
Yeah.
What a moron. I missed this entire of amazing musicians because I was stubborn. So I tell people, listen to what you love, but dig into some other stuff that you don't like the sound of and just try to figure out what's going on and appreciate why is this cool? Why do people even like this? And when you start to get that, your mind just opens up so much to like, oh, there's stuff out there. Like jazz and Latin are not my thing, but when I listen to them, my mind is blown because I'm like, I cannot believe people play this stuff, and it's like their first love, and I just appreciate it. And you realize, oh, there's a zillion drummers in this scene that are way better than me because I'm doing this and they're doing all this crazy stuff. So
yeah,
that's number 3. Number 4, you have to be reliable. And that is in so many areas, but the
don't be a flake.
The reliable, I will say, means this is so obvious, but you always, your name's associated with, you're always on time and know the music. Like you're prepared and you know the music. And those can be 2 separate, but that's really like, if I get called, I'm there and I know the music. If it's church, if it's Broadway, if it's an arena, it doesn't matter. When Dango shows up, he's already learned the songs. He's not showing up to rehearsal going, oh, yeah, I didn't get to listen to this one, which is so common. It happens all the time. All right, my 5th one. Those are all the like really important ones.
Those are great.
Yeah.
Hopefully. Okay.
Well, while you think about number 5, so are you familiar with the band Dishwalla? Do you remember Dishwalla?
Yeah.
So the bass player lives here in Boise, and I'm really great friends with him. We've done a ton of different stuff. And somewhere we were working, playing, and I just asked him, I said, then this totally relates to what you just said with number 4. I said, how do you know the song so well? Like, especially like if he and I were playing on a gig short notice together.
Yeah.
I'm like, how do you know the stuff so well so quickly? And he goes, dude, I have a reputation to maintain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that like really stuck with me when he said that. Not that I wasn't doing that, but it just like reinforced what I was doing. And I'm like, I'm not going to be the guy on stage that doesn't know what's happening.
Hey, we call Fred every time he shows up. No question. He knows all the music.
Yeah.
We're worried if he's going to be John Bonham or Neil Peart. We're worried that he's going to show up and know the music. And he does every time. And he sounds great. And his gear sounds great. Like that's the realistic goal. That's what we're going for, I feel like.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. All right. You got a number 5?
Oh, I had a couple different I was thinking, but I don't want to make it too complex. Let's say, because these are all like pretty general, hopefully, that could apply.
Yeah.
Dinner or 10 years into your career scenario. The last one I would say, make sure, this is for drummers, right?
Yeah.
I would say, make sure your gear sounds good.
Aha.
Whatever that means to you, you take care of your stuff, you maintain it, you figure it out. You don't have to have 10 snare drums. You better have one that sounds great. Whatever the best you can afford that sounds great. You don't show up with broken cymbals and holes in your heads and asking to borrow drumsticks. And you have a pair of in-ears that works, whether they're $50 or $2,000. But you have gear that's functioning and you have cases. Like that's part of the deal. If we're going to do this for a living, don't show up with your kick drum and a blanket and be like, well, I didn't realize we were taking the truck out of town. Like that's not an option. So when you're serious, make sure all your gear functions. That doesn't mean it has to be a specific brand. You don't need 10 toms, or maybe you do for the gig. If you do for the gig and you're playing metal, then you better have a huge kit. But it's like whatever it is you're playing, your gear better sound good. And if you can't tune that to sound decent, then start with something more basic and figure it out. But before you buy a bunch of crap, just get your main setup sounding good.
Yeah. I'm blown away by the amount of times I've played a show and one of the other drummers, they don't have a rug.
I'm guilty of that for sure.
I was going to say, I think every drummer has forgotten a rug at some point.
It should be common knowledge. I'm literally sitting looking at a rug right behind my camera, and it's like I still have had times where, because sometimes you don't carry it or you're on tour and you left in the city before. There's just times, but completely agree. It is amazing.
Yeah.
Sometimes if it's a multi-band deal and we're like the headliner band or whatever, I'll volunteer my rug to be put down first.
Even that I hate, because then everybody's gonna get their crap on it and spill beer on it. It's like
that could be, but sometimes I'm like, the amount of cables that have to be moved out of the way and the throw and go situation, I'm like, just one more thing I got to navigate around. But Timmer Van Loom is here, and he says, being reliable never gets mentioned, and it's so important. Yeah. Definitely.
I think there's a bonus one that we talked about, and that's just staying in shape and keeping your health and self-care and everything.
That's a tough one because you don't really worry about it when you're younger. And the older you get, it's like when I go into a doctor or when I'm talking to younger guys, I'm just like, well, part of this is maintaining. And so I started taking lessons again this last year from one of my college professors. And his name's Brian Fullen, and he's 20 years older than me now, basically. So he was my age when he was teaching me at Belmont. He's played for Peter Frampton and Shania, and he's done some huge A-level stuff. And he's done a lot of sessions. He teaches at Trevecca University now. He had me come to a master class. So still teaching. He plays for Pam Tillis, 90s country girl. So like still working. He's been doing this for, my whole lifetime. He's been a professional drummer. And he's just like, man, you got to think about longevity. And you want to be able to play arenas when you're 65 or 60. Right. And whether you get to or not is not the point. It's you want to be able to and expect that you're going to. So the way you do that is take care of yourself. And so we're working on molar technique, and we're working on changing how I hit because I was having wrist trouble a year ago. Well, I haven't had wrist trouble in probably 6 months now. It's definitely helping. And just talking through that practically of like, you have to think long-term maintenance. It's not about getting faster or more chops. Yes, you're always trying to build that, but that's not helping my career at all. What's helping my career is the stuff we're talking about and figuring out how to maintain. How can I play longer? Can I play more hours? Can I play more styles? That stuff. Not sitting down going, can my feet do 300 BPM? I need to work on this all day. And some people do. That's your thing.
Yeah.
As a working drummer in Nashville, that's not going to help me at all. And it's not going to land me more income. Yeah. So that's where you got to prioritize your time too. What's valuable? What work on? I still struggle with that because I'm like, do I work on recording today? Do I work on miking a snare drum? Do I work on my rudiments? Like all these things I need to get better at, but what's going to make me money? Like you got to always try to prioritize the long-term picture. So that's where I completely agree with you on the health thing. And I've been trying to really look into it.
Yeah, that's great. Dango, thank you so much for being available and being willing to get up early. And
well, he got up a little. Well, I guess he's an hour ahead of us, right? Nashville Central. Yeah.
I'd like to point out me getting up at 7 on any day except if I'm playing for church is crazy. I just don't get it.
That's the effect I have on people. That's the effect I have.
Yeah. Because I usually get up between 9 and 10 and try to exercise, and then I start lessons midday and then gigs. But if I'm gigging till 10 on an average night, or if I'm gigging till 2:30 a.m. and get home at 3, like
yeah, you need to
sleep until 11. You're like, that's not even, and that's my body's kind of been on that for 10 years at least. So that's why even when I'm not working late, I probably will get up at 9 or something. Like I'm just not. 7 is still early for me. So.
Yeah.
Well, you can go back and take a
No.
nap.
I got to start work day after this.
Hey, it's his anniversary today.
Oh, that's right.
It is. So yes.
Are you going out tonight? Are you going out?
We're talking about it. We were talking about it last night just because kids are about to go back to school. So we'll either do family dinner or her and I will go out, which I'm great with either. They're both fun.
Yeah.
But a handful of lessons today, and I have a session today, and then I'll be off.
All right.
Well, congratulations again on that. That's awesome. I'm happy for you. That's really cool. A reminder, everyone, that the show is sponsored by 12th Fret Music. Mary?
Yeah.
You want to add to that? You
don't buy my guitar.
Yeah, don't buy her guitar. Everybody knows the blue Jazz Master Fender hanging from the ceiling.
It's mine.
Wants to become Mrs. Fisher's.
There's a $40,000 guitar hanging.
We're not buying that one.
No, that's for looksies. Yeah, when I saw the price tag on that, I walked into the room that had that one, and I saw the price tag, and I turned around and walked out. I'm like, I can't even. It's like that scene in Spinal Tap where he's like, you know what? Don't even look at it. We're out.
Yeah. Don't even touch it. Don't even touch it. Yeah.
But do you hear the sustain? No.
I would, though, if it were playing.
I can't hear the sustain. I'm leaving the room. It's too expensive in here. Yeah, no. 12th Fret Music, yes, sponsors the Drummergy podcast, and we are proud to be friends with them. And go check them out. If you haven't been down there, you got to get in there. They'll take care of you. They'll help you find the right guitar.
Yeah.
Right fit, right price.
That's right. I had Steve Brown, who's drumming for Tesla, on the show about 2 months ago now.
Good buddy of mine, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
I've got to
cool.
do a bunch of dates opening for him the last few years, so Steve and I got pretty close.
He is an awesome dude, and he and I just hit it off, and now we call and text each other all the time. But we showed him the picture of the inside of that store, and he's like, I've been there before. Because he's not really a drum gearhead, but he likes guitars, obviously growing up around George Lynch and that whole scene. And he's like, that's a really cool store. So
that's awesome.
Well, that's awesome that you're friends with him too. Nice. Yeah. Nice. All right, everybody, we will see you next week.
Oh, and I just want to say thank you so much for having me. It's definitely an honor. And
man,
anybody who's watching or wants to reach out to me on Facebook, Instagram, just find Dango Empire. I always will get back to people, and just honored that you take the time to listen to both of us. We appreciate it.
Yeah. And that's how it worked for me, people, is I found Dango on that YouTube video showing off his studio and just reached out.
Yeah.
And that's how all this relationship stuff works. Networking is so important.
It is.
If nothing else, just having more friends is a good thing.
Yeah.
And all the rest of the year, I'm touring with Hawthorne Heights, emo rock band. We're playing the rest of the Warped Tours. Got Long Beach coming up next week. Got a whole fall tour with U.S. dates. So if you look up Hawthorne Heights or you're into that scene at all, I could be in a city there and just love meeting people. So hit me up if any of that interests you.
Well, and hopefully you'll be in Nashville when we come.
I really hope so. I'd love to meet you.
Either see you play or at least meet you.
At least lunch, barbecue, something.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
That would be awesome. All right, I'm going to hit end stream, and then I'll tell you what I'm working off screen here. All right, we'll see you guys next week.
See you guys.
Have a great week.
I'm going to run inside real quick.
Okay.
Check on something.